got.
Currently getting started with BadIntent, leading with Charizard and Scrafty, while Grant W and Gdubley leads with Kangaskhan and Salamence. Intimidate's going off with Salamence onto Scrafty and Charizard, and Scrafty intimidating back Kangaskhan and Salamence with his own Intimidate. So, as we all know, Kangaskhan has been a really prominent force here in all the regional presence. Mega Evolution returns to body with such a strong boost, and it also makes so which makes it so useful for every attacking possibility that's possible. And Charizard Mega Evolving right now with its Charizard Y-Ite, activating its Drought ability, which it just recently got with the new Mega Evolution mechanics.
Someone say no music, so I just turned it off.
Kangaskhan coming back with its own Mega Evolution, using the Kangaskhanite to get that Parental Bond ability. Scrafty coming out with the Fake Out onto the Salamence, and Salamence flinching and not moving this turn, while Charizard fires off the Overheat onto the Kangaskhan in the Sun, which does massive amounts of damage with the critical hit. Charizard's special attack sharply falls, while Kangaskhan gets knocked out. Quick knockout picked up by Omari against Gdubley, not even getting off a move that first turn. So Gdubley digging himself in a big hole, sending out Talonflame in the Sun. That's going to be pretty interesting with Gale Wings going. Both players making their moves. BadIntent is already submitted, waiting for Gdubley's move now. Oh, another cool thing about the battle presentation are the stats. Talonflame coming out with the Protect, protecting itself from any damage this turn, and Salamence coming out with the Dragon Pulse, hitting the Charizard wide, dealing a little bit less than half. Scrafty coming out with the Ice Punch on a Salamence, and that is super effective, but Salamence holds on after the Intimidate drop. Grant trying to pick up some steam now, and he kind of missed a big opportunity there with the Talonflame being able to Brave Bird onto the Scrafty, but I guess Grant was kind of just trying to predict that Scrafty would not want to stay in and take the Brave Bird. So Omari kind of just playing into it, and Gdubley just falling for it and not getting off a single move that turn against that Scrafty. Charizard Y switching out now for Mamoswine coming in. Scrafty double switch by BadIntent. Scrafty being replaced by Garchomp. And Talonflame coming out with the Brave Bird onto most likely the Garchomp. Garchomp taking a little over half, and the Rough Skin, the recoil. Oh, so much damage just passively, and the Life Orb recoil as well, doing almost half to Talonflame. And Salamence coming out with the Dragon Pulse onto Garchomp for the KO. It is now a 3-3 tie between Gdubley and BadIntent. Omari opting to switch in Scrafty now, which will come in with the Intimidate again to lower Talonflame's attack and Salamence's attack, although that's probably negligible because Salamence is special based. Scrafty coming out with the Fake Out onto Salamence, doing getting into the red, which is pretty significant, and Talonflame firing off the Brave Bird after Intimidates onto the Mamoswine, doing a little less than half, and Talonflame getting damaged again by recoil and Life Orb recoil. Salamence flinching, and Mamoswine coming out with the Icicle Crash. On to the Talonflame, which goes for the knockout, a critical hit, although I don't think that mattered at all. And Talonflame goes down. It is now 3-2, BadIntent over Gdubley. Gdubley sending out his own Garchomp, Double Dragons, the Dragon Brothers, as I like to call them, staring down Mamoswine and Scrafty. Omari has made his move and waiting upon Gdubley, who has earned 150 BP, BadIntent evaluated 1,500 times by the judge. And the Ice Shard comes out from Mamoswine onto Salamence. Super effective, knocks out the Salamence. And Garchomp coming out with a Rock Slide that's not very effective on Scrafty and negligible damage on Mamoswine. Although that was a critical hit, and he gets the flinch, Sunlight fades, and now Gdubley stares down a 1-on-3 scenario, which is very hard to get out of, but I mean, this is Pokemon, anything can happen. But when you have a Mamoswine out there, well, that Ice Shard's going to threaten Garchomp, and Mamoswine does come out with the Ice Shard onto Garchomp. Super effective damage, and that is a one-hit knockout, and BadIntent takes Game 1 in a deciding fashion 3-0.
If they're close enough to him and talk kind of loud, it should be fine.
Alright, so now going into Game 2, Gdubley definitely has to adjust, and after that 3-0 defeat, he definitely needs to find a way. Mamoswine definitely is a problem for both Salamence and Garchomp, and it also threatens Gdubley's Amoonguss as well. Definitely protecting Mega Kangaskhan is going to become a big factor. Megas being introduced in this generation has definitely made it a different game where you have to protect your Mega and see if you can defeat their Mega and have the advantage of having a Mega while they don't.
Are we good here?
So, BadIntent has locked in his decision for his team. Again, his team consists of Garchomp, Venusaur, Mamoswine, Scrafty, Salamence?
Venusaur.
No, it's the top two.
Okay, this is Hui, and
So, I'm now being joined by my brother Hui to help me in this commentating endeavor. And we're about to get underway here in Game 2, where Omari BadIntent has taken Game 1 in decisive fashion over Grant W., also known as Gdubley. What do you think about Omari so far, Hui?
Omari's looked really sharp so far. He's made good decisions, he's applied the pressure correctly, and I haven't seen very many mistakes from him today.
Right, it's definitely a big matchup right now. Gdubley, this is actually one of his first regional tournaments versus Omari, who is like a seasoned veteran who's, I mean, you saw him in the first set of regionals, he just dominated.
Omari's been playing since 2010, and he's always been a very good regionals player. He's good at offense, he's good at making good moves, he doesn't make very many mistakes, and he's just a very solid player, and it'll be hard to overcome that without the experience.
First turn coming out, and Mamoswine immediately switches out for the Rotom Wash form, and the Kangaskhan reacting to the Kangaskhanite and the Mega Ring to evolve into Mega Kangaskhan with the Parental Bond ability. Charizard opting to not Mega Evolve this turn and protecting itself instead from any damage that may be dealt. Kangaskhan faking out the Rotom Wash. There's one hit, and there's two hits for about
A little bit, 66%?
33%, you mean.
Oh, yeah, I can't do math right now.
It's pretty late here.
It's been a long day.
It's been a very long day. If you haven't already heard, there were 500 masters here today. We had to split up flights into two of about 250 each, which is larger than even
One
the
of our
Virginia.
flights was larger than any of the other regionals so far, and it's been a grueling day.
Yeah, we got here about 7:30, and
It's 10 p.m. now.
10 p.m. now, so it's been a very long day for for all the battlers here, actually. And, well, right now it's a test of endurance. I really like how they have the stats posted here. BadIntent has obtained 347 Pokemon, and back to the action. GW decides to retreat his Kangaskhan and send out Salamence, trying to protect his Mega this time around and seeing if he can get around this. Salamence dropping the Intimidates, but that's really not that important against these two very special attackers. And Charizard reacts to its Mega Ring and evolves into Charizard Y. Drought activating, and that is a pretty good ability, I'd say, for Charizard to be able to change the weather mid-turn. Firing off the Overheat into the Salamence, not very effective, and still does about 66%. Charizard special attack harshly falling after that, and Thunderbolt coming out onto Salamence for the knockout. Omari takes a 4-3 lead.
Omari didn't want to take any chances with that.
Absolutely not. A critical hit from GW's Rotom Wash comes out onto Charizard Y and gets the KO. Omari's Mega Evolved Pokemon has now been taken out, and Omari trying to come in with another counter to this, and GW sends in Kangaskhan, and Omari sends in his Garchomp. What do you think so far about the interactions between Parental Bond and Garchomp's Rough Skin?
Rough Skin makes Kangaskhan's day terrible. It hits it twice, and it takes about, I guess, 25%. And combine that with a Rocky Helmet, and you have a recipe for a Kangaskhan going out really fast.
And Kangaskhan coming out with its Fake Out onto Rotom Wash and eats its Citrus Berry in between the hits, recovering health, dropping down to about over half, and Garchomp comes out with the Dragon Claw onto Kangaskhan. Rotom flinches, and Grant's Rotom Wash gets a Will-O-Wisp off onto Omari's Garchomp, having his attack, and that is a brutal thing for Garchomp to face.
Garchomp, as opposed to singles, has relatively weak stabs because of splitting its attacks.
Right. With doubles, the spread moves actually get weakened by 75%, so that is something to consider. His Earthquake is no longer
Yeah, they're
a
weakened
threat.
to 75%.
To 75%, correct.
So instead of firing off 100 base power Earthquakes, he's firing off base 75 Earthquakes.
Right. BadIntent evaluated 1,483 times by the judge, and GW actually has more evaluations by the judge.
Somebody's been reading.
ST regimens cleared 6 times. 2 times.
Super training is the way to go.
That's what ST stands for.
BadIntent showing the 35 PP ups.
PP ups. 0 PP ups on GW's side. Garchomp, back to the action. Garchomp with the Rock Slide. Double avoid by GW. And Kangaskhan comes out with a return onto Rotom Wash. And, well, survives the first hit, but the second hit with Parental Bond knocks it out. Tough luck. And now it is 2-on-2, or 2-on-3 with Garchomp taking damage from Burn.
Grant opting to Thunderbolt into the Rotom slot just to make sure that it goes down.
Got a double tap. Mamoswine comes in for the fallen Rotom Wash, and now the 3-on-2 begins for GW, who has, I think he has a clean advantage here.
He definitely has an advantage. A Burn Garchomp isn't something to be super scared of, and his Kangaskhan isn't threatened by anything at the moment.
Absolutely.
It outspeeds the Mamoswine,
and Omari opting for the forfeit. That was interesting. Doesn't want to show off any of his cool text that he probably is hiding on the back. So anyways, Grant will take game 2. It is now 1-1. And, well,
Omari took the first game in convincing fashion, and GW kind of dominated the second game. So
GW definitely adjusted well. Omari lost his Mega early, which was definitely a problem. How do you think both players are going to react to this? Sorry, we just had to make some edits to the thing, and we cannot press the button while editing. So, back to the action. Here's the team preview. Omari again with his Charizard, Rotom, Wash, Garchomp, Mamoswine, Venusaur, and Scrafty versus GW, Salamence, Garchomp, Amoonguss, Kangaskhan, Talonflame, and Rotom Wash. I kind of want to see what Omari's Venusaur does, but
I'm not sure Venusaur is the right Pokemon to bring here. It's threatened by Talonflame. It can't really touch Salamence and Garchomp.
Kangaskhan, right?
Kangaskhan, no, there's Sun. But Amoonguss just kind of, yeah.
right. But I mean, you gotta think about it though. With Charizard Y and Venusaur having such great synergy, that might even be able to just give him any advantage, or do you just think that?
I mean, he gets a fast sleep powder out of it,
Right.
but at the same time, the Talonflame kind of, he's got to get rid of that Talonflame if he wants to use Mega Venusaur.
Right. And Omari has set his lineup, and GW barely gets it in time with 10 seconds remaining. And here we go. Game 3, tied between GW and BadIntent, the rookie from SoCal versus the seasoned pro from NorCal. GW sending out Salamence and Kangaskhan. Omari opting to send out Charizard and Scrafty. Intimidates firing off from both sides to weaken Scrafty's attack and weaken Kangaskhan's attack, while Salamence, the special attacker, and Charizard do not care too much about that Intimidate. Who do you think has the better position right now?
I think GW has the better position at the moment. Is Kangaskhan is the fastest fake outer on the field, and Charizard has to protect this turn if it wants to keep itself alive.
Right, but at the same time,
If
But-
GW opts to fake out the Scrafty though, he might lose his Kangaskhan early.
right. And back to the action now. Charizard Y hitting the field, activating Drought, boosting all fire attacks and weakening all water attacks at the same time. And Kangaskhan will follow suit and Mega Evolve as well, turning into Mega Kangaskhan with Parental Bond. Such a great ability. And Kangaskhan opting to fake out the Scrafty again.
Let's hope Omari saw that coming.
Yep, did a little bit of damage. Scrafty flinches and cannot move. Salamence firing off the Draco Meteor onto Charizard Y. Is that enough? Charizard Y is actually pretty bulky, especially, and survives that with about 40%. And Charizard firing off the Overheat onto Kangaskhan, and GW loses Kangaskhan again. Critical hit, that didn't even matter.
Omari definitely won that turn. Anytime you can trade, or anytime you can take out your opponent's Mega and keep yours alive, is a win in my book.
4-3 advantage to Omari in this critical game 3 of top 32 here in Long Beach, California. And GW must be stunned right now because he is in a hole losing his Mega.
Omari showing no fear, just going straight for the Overheat.
Doesn't care, just wants the 4 Pokemon knocked out before they knock out his Pokemon. Garchomp comes out to replace the fallen Kangaskhan, and GW he has to dig a way out of this. The Dragon Brothers are out. Flying Dragon, Ground Dragon, they combine, and let's see if GW can mount a comeback here.
Brother, are you flying?
Yes, I am flying. If any of you have not seen that, then, well, you guys should look for that comic online. It's a good comic. And Salamence, with the -2 special attack, continuing to fire off Draco Meteors. This one targeting the Rotom Wash for what's going to be negligible damage. And Salamence keeps becoming weaker and weaker. Garchomp going for the Rock Slide. Maybe some flinch might bring him back into this game and gets the critical hit on Rotom, but Rotom just eats off its Citrus Berry and heals back to a decent amount of health. Scrafty ice punching Garchomp, and that only does about half. And Rough Skin will bite back and hurting Scrafty back to about 66%. What do you think so far, Hui?
I think Omari's in a really good position right now. GW's just kind of firing off weak attacks, and BadIntent's just kind of chipping away at it.
Definitely. I think Omari has just the better position right now, unless GW can kind of work his way around being in this hole. Salamence switching out for Rotom Wash, and Garchomp opting to protect itself for this turn. Omari's Rotom Wash fires off the Thunderbolt onto GW's Rotom Wash, and Scrafty Ice Punches the Garchomp into the Protect. And that was, I mean, I don't think he's been able to switch his momentum that much this turn, GW.
GW's in the same position he was last. He has weak Pokemon attacking Omari's slightly bulkier Pokemon, and unless he can mount some offense, he really can't dig his way out of this.
Right, and well, as you can see by the stats, 729 BP earned by BadIntent compared to GW's 150. Rotom Wash coming out onto a Thunderbolt onto the other Rotom Wash after Garchomp Dragon Claws the Scrafty earlier, and Rotom Wash going for the Thunderbolt on Scrafty, and he gets the knockout. That is a critical knockout. Now Garchomp is safe for another turn, but will that matter?
Omari brings in his own Garchomp, so we get to play the speed tie game.
I love Garchomp mirror matches. Oh, it's a complete mirror match. Rotom Wash and Garchomp versus Rotom Wash and Garchomp. Of course, GW's heavily damaged in comparison to Omari's, who are still in pretty much near perfect shape. This just in, Makiri, Paul H. of Nugget Bridge has just won his Top Cut match. And he defeated Justin B., the 16th seed from Flight B. Back to the action now. Garchomp protecting itself from this turn, and Garchomp firing off a Dragon Claw into the Rotom Wash. Rotom Wash survives.
Reads that perfectly.
And Omari just gets that read. Double targeting the Rotom Wash, getting that knockout, and, well, 1-on-3.
GW opted to not play the speed tie game.
Wait. Sorry, 2-on-3. I believe Salamence is still alive.
Salamence is still around.
Salamence is still around.
Yeah.
That is correct. But Omari just avoiding that Protect and hitting both into the Rotom Wash to get that key knockout. So big.
GW opting not to play the speed tie game, and it sort of bites him. He loses his Rotom, and it's 3-on-2.
Salamence comes in and intimidates Garchomp, but he is in a big hole right now. GW with two Pokemon and BadIntent with 3, including his Charizard Y in the back in this crucial Game 3 here in top 32 of Long Beach Regionals.
His Charizard Y might not be too useful at the moment. He's staring down 2 dragons, and most Charizards carry a Fire move and Solar Beam.
Right, but at the same time, you gotta think now, as long as you can get rid of Salamence, your pathway to Garchomp is clear because you can still Solar Beam it. And BadIntent opting to protect his Garchomp for this turn, and Salamence firing off the Dragon Pulse right into the Protect, and Garchomp firing off its own Dragon Claw into Rotom Wash, and Rotom Thunder Waves Salamence to make it go so slow. Oh, so slow. And now Omari pretty much has a clear advantage in this matchup.
To answer P-Ball's question, we had 500 and I think it was 20 Masters.
Right. Garchomp firing off its Dragon Claw into into Omari's Garchomp and trading Dragon Claws, and Rough Skin knocks out both. Double Garchomp knockout. Rough Skin. Tough times. Both Garchomps knocked out. Now it is Salamence staring down the world. A paralyzed Salamence staring down Charizard Y in the back with Rotom Wash out right now. Thunderbolt coming out onto the Salamence, and Dragon Pulse gets the knockout. 1-on-1 right now, and, well, Paralyzed Salamence versus a Charizard Y. And Charizard Y, do you think it has anything that can hit that Salamence?
The sun's up, so we can fire off an Overheat. Charizard Y has 154 base special attack, so this might do some massive damage.
Yep, it all comes down to this.
I'm not even sure.
Charizard Y coming out with the Overheat. Is it enough? In the sun. That's enough, and even critical hit. That critical hit to end the game. Do you think that was necessary? I'm not sure about that one.
It would have been really close.
It was a close game.
Someone run the count.